and you say, okay, we'll see you Saturday at 2. Oh, by the way, I just have a few questions to get my homework done. Sounds like you're married. Can you make sure your wife's there too, please? Or just make sure your wife's there too, please. In other words, you're going to make sure that, and you may even ask them, can we make sure that all decision makers are present? Because it could be more than just the spouse. It could be the teenager kids too. Could be the dad that helped them buy the place in the first place. Could be a whole bunch of other things as well, okay? So this first one is really important for you. The next one you want to ask them is, when you say, can you make sure all decision makers are present? They'll say, yeah, sure. Just say, they're all interested in selling too, right? Now, we have the Dower Act in Alberta, so you're kind of lucky for the spouse part. In BC, they don't have that. You can literally have a husband or a wife that wants to sell their place, and the spouse doesn't know, and they don't have to tell them.
Really?
And if they're not on title, they can just scoop it out right from under them. And they don't have that here. You have the Dower Act, right?
Wow.
So the next thing is CMA information. So I'm going to give you a call form next week where you'll have a place to add all the information that you need to do a CMA or to find the comparables. But let me ask you folks right now, when you're asking them a little bit about their house, give me the first 4 important things that we need to know to help us to look up the comparables. Give me one thing.
Square foot.
Square foot is probably one of the top
Number
4.
of rooms, number of bathrooms.
Bedrooms be the next
Age
one.
of the house.
Okay, so I would say the number 1 thing you need to know is the address, so you know where to go.
Location, community.
Okay, location and the neighborhood is number 1. So make a note of that. There's number 1. So I'm actually giving you, when I just gave you a whole bunch about number 1 and number 2, now I'll give you a bunch about number 3. Okay, number 3, what do we need? We need to know the address and neighborhood. What else? Square footage and style and age. That's the top 4. Now let's do the next 4, which are really important too. But the other 4, I'm just saying, if you don't have these 4, you need them. You need those, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you need the address, the age, the style, square footage?
Yes.
And then the next 4 are just about as important, but they're kind of secondary. You need to know maybe how many bedrooms, how many baths. And you want to know about the basement and if it's finished. And you want to know about the parking, which is the garage. So that's the next 4. So tell me all 8 now. What's number 1?
Address.
Address, neighborhood.
Yeah.
Address and neighborhood. Number 2?
Square foot.
Number 3?
Style.
Number 4?
Age.
5?
Bed and bath.
Bed and bath. 6?
Basement.
Basement and if it's finished.
Finished.
Number 7? Garage or parking. Actually, basement was 5 and basement finished was 6. That's why I said 8. But either way, you got 7 or 8. But those, you pretty well need that. You pretty well need that. And then when you go into Paragon or Matrix, you put that information from their house into it and go back 3 months on the sales, push enter and see how many properties match very similar to that. Does that make sense? So they definitely put in the neighborhood, which is the zone and all that too. Definitely put in the style. Definitely, actually I would just put in those 2 just to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I would put in neighborhood and style first. And I'd go check to see. And if there's a ton of sales in 3 months, I'd bring it back to 2 months, then bring it back to 1 month. How many comparables do you think you should bring to your listing appointment?
At least
3.
Yeah, 3 to 5. Okay, and the way you do it, when I teach you in lesson 5, I teach you how you show them how most successful sellers pick the right price by showing the comparables in a certain way, but not today. This is just to let you know the information you need. So you got to bona fide your appointment when? After you what? Book the appointment. That's what this is all about, right? Okay? So you need to schedule enough time. How? Can you say to them it's going to take 2 hours? Do you think that would be okay?
No.
No. So don't do that. You might say to them, we'll see you Saturday at 2. And make a note of this. Offer, and I'm trying to find the wording here, but tell them, or let me see if I got it here. What's the wording for that? Oh yeah, book a window for your arrival time. Make a note of that. Book a window for your arrival time. So what time did you say the appointment was, you guys?
2.
2. So you tell them that you'll be there. What time should you say you'll be there?
1:45.
You say, I'll be there between 1:30 and 2. That's a window. book a window for your arrival time. So Saturday at 2, so I'll be there between 1:30 and 2, depends on the traffic. And what time should you get there? About 20 to 2. Gives you 20 more minutes all of a sudden. And you're not early, you're not late, you're just, you know, you're late if you get there at 2 or 2:01. You're still okay at 10:02. In your mind, you're thinking, I want to get there just around 1:30 now, but you'll get there about 22. You got 20 extra minutes just in case. Okay, so book a window for your arrival time and make sure they have, and make a note of this too, make sure they have nothing else planned later in the day. Make sure, that's the number 2. Okay, so what was number 1 there? Book a,
Book a window.
and the second part, make sure they have nothing else planned. So you ask them. Okay, so you don't say I need 2 hours, you say I'll see you at 2, but I might arrive between 1:30 and 2, just depends on the traffic. Fair enough, yeah. And you don't have anything planned later that afternoon, do you? You know, like what? Well, you know, you're not meeting somebody at 3 or something. They say, oh yeah, we got to be somewhere at 3, so you're only going to have a half hour or so. Say, well, no, let's book another time. I don't want to be rushed. I don't want you to be rushed. So, you know, that's how you schedule enough time. Pretty good tips, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing is you know the price range home they live in. If they already told you, because did you ask them already?
Yeah.
What number on your prospecting track? Oh, let's take a look. Everybody's got your prospecting track? Okay, we're on the bona fide appointment checklist on this side? Yes? Oh, no, on this side.
Yeah,
Number 4.
Okay, did we ask them already how much they want for their house?
yes,
Where, on the other side?
yeah,
Under the what? W5? Yeah, so if they said, we think our home's worth 500 grand, do you have to ask them again? No, you already have the answer. If they said, I don't know, I'll think about it, and you say, okay, then after you've done more, you might be able to ask them but a different way. You might say, what price range do you think your home is in? What price range home do you think you have? What do you think? Because you don't know what it's worth, right? So if I bring in some comparables around 480, do you think that'll be in your range? And it's interesting, I gotta tell you right now, all sellers know exactly how much their home's worth. And they know exactly how much they want. Yeah, sure, there's some people who've been in it 50 years and built it, they're not exactly sure, they haven't watched the market, so there's the exception. But 99 out of 100 people, sellers, know exactly how much they want and know exactly how much their home's worth, and they almost all know that they're trying to get more than it's worth. Just the way it is. I mean, it's unique, but some of them think it's worth more than it really is. That was supposed to be funny. Anyways, it's not funny, I guess. It's pretty serious when it comes to pricing, right? It's not unique. It's very common that people think their home's worth or can get more than it's really worth, right? So you just say to them what price range. If they say they don't know, then you say a price, and they're going to say, oh, no, we know it's worth at least 5. You'll get it out of them if you just try a different way, okay? The next thing, you want to make sure you know their mortgage balance. Why do you need to know their mortgage balance? Why do you think?
commission?
To make sure we get paid. Make sure that you can get paid. Tell you a quick story. I had a past student. I taught in the class, pull title before you go. Make sure you get the mortgage balance when you're there for the net sheet. Make sure you get a print off from their bank. Make sure you know everything, right? He didn't do any of that. Calls me up. I think we were going to do coaching or something, and I said, how's your day going? He said, not good. I go, why? Because the lawyer just called me on one of my closings and said there's not enough money to get paid. They owe too much. I'm not getting paid. So, I think he was devastated because of that.
Yeah.
And they were closing, he wasn't getting paid. But that wasn't anywhere near what really was worse. There was something else worse that was happening. Don't say it, Peter, but Peter knows. Any else of you know what happened to this guy? When there wasn't enough to close and he didn't get paid, he still had to pay the buyer agent their commissions. He did, out of his pocket. How many of you would like to list a house, sell it, not get paid, and pay the other buyer's commissions, the buyer realtor commissions? Who would like to do that? Okay, so if you don't pull title, and your office will tell you, I think Peter says it's mandatory at your office here, you have to pull title. If you're not at this office, pull title, it's $10, it's worth it, right? The other thing is mortgage, when you pull title, it doesn't show what they owe, it shows what they borrowed. Unless there's a different, I think there's 2 ways to pull title, right, Peter?
Yeah.
There's the history one,
Yeah.
and then there's
And
now
current.
current.
Yeah.
a lot of times it doesn't give you the proper amount, so please ask them what it is before you go. And if they don't know, ask them if they can get a print off from their bank website and have it on the table when you get there, because you're gonna do a net sheet and figure out what they can put in their pocket. Okay? I had once I heard this. A seller said to the realtor, one of my students said this. Is it on?
Yep.
One of my students said this. They said, that's confidential information. I don't wanna have that for you. I wouldn't even bother going on that appointment. Just don't worry about it. Just don't worry about all this adversity stuff people throw at you. If it's just sounding a little weird, just say, well, I won't be able to help you. But if you can talk through it, you can just say, well, don't worry. Have it ready for me. Put it in a folder or keep it in a drawer. Once I go over our consumer relationship guide and our fiduciary duties, once you sign, I have to have full confidentiality, then you can show me. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Yeah. If they still say no, what do you do? Well, can't help you. It's pretty simple, right? So there's the prospecting track again that has this bona fide appointment checklist here also. So you ask or eliminate, give reason, get your yes or weak yes, ask open-ended questions, then you offer a fair trade item to close.
Cha-ching.
Thank you. And then after you close to chain for the appointment, you bona fide the appointment. It's all right here. How important is that to have on the wall or what, gang? Hey?
Very
Isn't
important.
that extremely valuable for you? So there's the old prospecting track. Just like that. And there's that typo. When would you like to be in your new home? So when you ask a different way, on this page, you might want to write under here, grab your page like this. Everybody, grab this page. As soon as you got it, put up your hand. Okay, everybody got it?
Yes.
Right under here, put do you know of anybody else thinking of something? So that you have it. Okay? Make sure you write it there. You got it? You got it on yours? Put it on yours there too. Just like she is right here. Hardy? Right here like this. Make sure you do that.
Do you know if anyone?
Do you know of anybody else? Do you got it there? So when it's on your wall, you'll remember to always ask that question. You got it there? You got it? Okay, good. Oh, it's like I said, I don't want to come across picky, but I need to be picky. I need to make sure you got it all. Because you'll make so much more money faster. So let's go to the old FSBO, shall we, gang?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I just want to let you know, I call it the evolution of the FSBO. I don't call it the theory of the evolution. I call it kind of a factual evolution. And we came up with my class over the years. We used to just talk about it, but then I put it on a PowerPoint here. And I said, you know what? I think there is truly an evolution of FSBOs. A true one. You know, like, when do you think a FSBO thinks about selling their house? When would most people kind of, you know, think about it?
When the market is hot.
It's possible, but what if people wanted to do something in their life? Like, the market may not be as big a deal to them. You know, they may have been waiting to build a house for 10 years. They may have been waiting to retire, and this year they want to sell and move into a condo or something like that. But typically people start to make these commitments early in the year. It's like the New Year's resolution thing or something. This year we're going to sell. You know, I mean, interest rates would have to be insane or something for them to stop with their plans, put it that way. It has to be, they've been talking about it for a long time, they want to do it. And it's usually like January 1st or 2nd. That's when most people are thinking about what they're going to do for the year. Don't we do that?
Yes.
This year I might do this, I might do that. So when do you think the best time to prospect is? January 2nd? you might have appointments laid out for the next few months. You may even have people to follow up with just from your first week of the year, right? So start prospecting in January 2nd unless you're in Mexico for another month or something. So if a FSBO says we're selling this year, honey, they'll probably think of putting it on the market when? They may have talked about selling this year sometime on January 2nd, but the day they actually want it to be available for sale is when? When do you think? A FSBO?
January 3rd.
Actually, it's spring.
Springtime.
Most people think the best time to put their home on the market is when?
Springtime.
Spring. Right? You know, late spring even, right? So the FSBO goes and runs over to Home Depot and buys himself a nice little sign.
Fine.
You seen those signs?
Yes.
What, this big?
Yeah.
They might even buy two. Put one, they get the little piece of wood and they nail it into the ground in front of their house, puff up his chest a little bit. Because you know what? I know I'm busy, but I can do what a realtor does, because all they do is put a sign on the front lawn, an ad on Kijiji, and just wait for the phone to ring. I don't need to pay commission for that. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then they take the other sign, and they run across the street, dodging traffic, go on a Meridian, nail it down, dodge traffic again all the way back, and they walk home to, it's only half a block for the directional sign, and there's a realtor sitting on the front lawn, standing there. Hey, how's it going? Thinking of selling your house? And how do you think the FSBO feels right there? He just finished dodging traffic. Right? Puff chest. Said, oh yeah, no, we're good. And the realtor doesn't stand a chance. At all. Guaranteed. You're not going to get the listing the first day after you dodge traffic. 30 days later, things start to happen where the FSBO notices that it's not as easy as he thought. People are calling and saying, I want to see the place, booking a time and not showing up. People are coming, showing up, and they're kind of giving them the cold shoulder. They go through the house, they're always complaining about things, making it feel like the house is falling apart. And they're really getting tired of this stuff. Second of all, the smart one in the relationship, when it's a husband and wife, who's the smart one?
The wife.
The wife. You've been married a long time, right? You too, it's the wife. Okay. Anyway, it's just having fun with you folks. But the wife always wanted to list right from the beginning. The husband is just being a little bit of a stubborn and being a little stickler. She's letting him go through the motions, showing support, rolling her eyes when he doesn't see. Right? And after about 2 months, he's like, oh man, this isn't working right. So he goes and he makes a call. And he calls what I said earlier, a company that doesn't put it on MLS, they're just a help you sell company. They'll give you a kind of a reflective sign for a couple $100, and they may have a magazine to put you in or something online. And we'll help you. And we'll put it on the internet. It costs you $600, let's say. We've heard of these ones before.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's puffed up his chest again. He's saying, no, I got it. It's good. Of course, his wife, not in front of him, rolls her eyes. And he's like, oh, here we go. Okay, how much longer? Now, if he's like the average guy, every time something's not working right, he complains. Am I right, ladies? Mm-hmm. Husbands complain. They get a little wimpy at times, too. And finally, the real boss surfaces. The real boss in the relationship. Who's that? Wife, yes. And she says, that's it. We're not doing this anymore like this. You're an engineer, you work 10 hours a day, you're always upset, that's it. We are also running out of time. Call somebody and put it on the market. So then we can't go after them anymore if they go with a discount broker. Who's a discount broker? We said Purple Mix turned to Fair Square. What's another one?
Board.
2%, 3%, 1%.
No percent.
No percent. All this, so he's like, oh yeah, why don't I pay for commissions? I need it. So they got somebody that, you get what you pay for. Somebody's willing to throw away their money just to put a sign in there on how fast would they throw away your money to negotiate, blah, 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 stuff like that. So, you notice it didn't sell with the Home Depot sign, according to this. You notice it didn't sign with the non-MLS help you sell. And guess what? A lot of times it doesn't sell with a discount broker. In fact, if you want to write this down somewhere on that page, 7 out of 10 will sell with a legitimate real estate company. 7 out of 10 will sell with real estate.
7 of 10?
7 out of 10.
Will sell with real estate. 1 out of 10 will sell with the Home Depot sign. 1 out of 10 will sell with the help you sell, and 1 out of 10 will sell with the discount brokerage. 7 out of 10, guess whose sign's going on the lawn?
Yours.
Your sign. If you follow up. Now here's another note to make. FSBOs need to have a touch from the industry 7 times on average before they list. How many times?
7.
I hope you wrote that down, because you want to remember to say that to remember that for yourself. How many touches?
7.
What is a touch? Is a phone call a touch?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Is a mailer a touch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Email?
Yes.
Text?
Yes.
Door knock?
Yeah.
Yes.
And repeat? Like repeat it all over? Like you might door knock on the first week and then door knock 2 months later.
Yeah.
But it's 7 touches. So you don't know when the 7th touch occurs because there may be 3 realtors touching the same FSBO at the same time. So you just have to take your best shot. Right? But this is what'll happen. You notice the sign gets bigger? I'm just playing with the evolution theory thing.
Yeah.
This one's a fact though. And look what happens next. Guess what it turns into?
And then
A bigger sign.
So,
Right? That's the evolution of the FSBO. Okay, so do you like to master hitting a home run with the FSBO?
yes.
And you just have to remember the 658. It's just some numbers I threw together. It's 6 awarenesses, 5 requirements, and 8 reasons why you can sell their home for more money in less time. Now, would you call a FSBO for a client?
No.
So if you have somebody that says they're in the buyer agency with you and they see a FSBO, they want to buy it, you wouldn't call the FSBO? You tell them just to go talk to themselves.
No.
No.
I would call the FSBO, for sure. I would call and try and set up a listing appointment. I tell them we'll show my buyer once it's on the market, right? Because I only work on properties that are
Listed on
And
MLS.
then
MLS. Exactly. So give me a new for this. 658, I already told you what they were, so let's do the first one, the 6 awarenesses. We put up a few here. So, what did I say? 7 out of what?
10.
7 out of 10.
Will what?
List with real estate.
There it is. Now you know it's real. Just kidding. But it is another stat that I've overheard over decades of being in the business, either at an R convention or reading something online or getting something, you know, from the board or whatever. So, and you know, none of these stats are 100%. It could be 6 out of 10, could be 8 out of 10 one time, but it's probably around 7 out of 10. Seven out of 10 will use a realtor. So if you had 7 FSBOs in Millwoods, or not Millwoods, we're in Calgary, I was in Edmonton for a second, excuse me, in Chestermere, let's say, that's a little further outside the city, but still, 7 FSBOs, or 10 FSBOs. According to that, 7 of them would have a real estate sign on their lawn at some point. May as well be yours, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of realtors stay away from FSBOs. Why? Why do you think they do? Because they eat their young? Because they're mean? Well, think about it. How many FSBOs do you have to talk to find one that wants to sell?
1.
One. How many do you need to look or talk to find that will use a realtor? I don't know. So apparently 7 out of 10 at some point. Not remember, you got to have 7 touches, then it's 7 out of 10. It's not the first touch. Unless, this is the exception. They could put it on the market a couple weeks later. They just talked and, you know, both between the husband and wife, they said, no, we're not going to do this. It's the first few weeks have been, we just don't have time for this. And then they call. I remember I went on one appointment one time, and it was interesting. When we talked to them on the phone, they were kind of in the middle. You know, they weren't like pushing us away, but they weren't really open to us. But we got the appointment. And when I got there, I walked up, you see the FSBO sign on the lawn, got to the front door, knocked on it, and it was a younger couple. So, you know, I was younger than I am now, so it was a few years ago. And they were quite a bit younger than me, probably at the time, I don't know, mid-30s. And they didn't seem mad or excited, just kind of very neutral, right? And so, oh yeah, come on in. And I didn't realize it, but they were actually really depressed about the whole situation. That's why they were kind of neutral. But they didn't want to really show that. So I walked in, and I had somebody on my team with me. We walked in, we went and I said, do you want us just to sit here? And they said, sure. We went to sit down, and we sat on one side, and they were on this side. I thought they'd sit, but they just stood. They kind of stood there, and they kept their distance a little bit, right? And I looked at them, and something, I don't know, it was just a feeling. Something said to me that these people are kind of hurting. So I looked at them, and I said, so why don't you tell me how it's been going for you, folks, instead of me starting to go into anything, right? I just asked. And all of a sudden, you could just see the husband, especially the husband. The wife was kind of supporting him, but he said, oh, it's been horrible. And his lips were quivering a little bit, you know? And I said, well, tell me what's going on. And I just gave him my ear. And this is a FSBO gang. He'd been trying for a while, and he was telling me what I said earlier. People don't show up. Some of the people come in here, and they treat us horrible. It make our house feel like it's just junk. And they're rude. And he said, we're never going to do this again, you know? And I said, sounds like you're ready then, hey? And he goes, yeah. I said, okay, let's sit down. I got all the paperwork ready already. I hardly had to do anything. He was ready. He just signed. And we even went $30,000 less than what he was trying to sell for. Because he knew he was over. And then, so we got it on the market, it sold right away. But I remember when I left, I said, can I take your FSBO sign? And he goes, sure. So I took it, threw it in my truck. And I was teaching the next day, because I was selling a little bit at the time. I don't now, but. And I went to, and I just finished teaching some of this FSBO stuff. And I came into the class. And I said, do you want to know how easy it is to list a FSBO? And I said, here's our sign. I already got one, and I was the trainer. And it was funny because I just did what I taught. It wasn't like it was something special happened. So remember, you got to keep talking to book appointments with FSBOs because some of them really need your help. They really do. In fact, when you see a FSBO sign, it says for sale by owner, 403 da-da-da, right? What I want you to do is change your vision. When you see that, I only want you to see one word, help. Write that down right now somewhere. Put it on that first sign. Remember back here? Right here? Put it on that sign. Cross out FSBO and put help. Do that, then you'll never forget what I just said. Okay? So did you put FSBO in the box first?
Yes.
Cross it out and put help. That's what every FSBO sign says to you from now on. They're begging for your help. They just don't know it sometimes. So go get the FSBOs, okay, gang? Okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's see here, where were we?
We missed the sixth thing on
The
the.
6,
So-
yeah, full service.
So, I didn't put it up yet. So 7 out of 10, so you need to follow up. How many touches?
7.
But another realtor might have done 3. So you only need to do 4, but you don't know it. That's the only thing, you just don't know. So you just keep untouched. Now, if you go and you talk to a FSBO and you say, you need any help or would you consider using real estate? And they say, no, we're good. And you say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll follow up with you again in about a month. Fair enough? If they say sure, then you're good, right?
Yeah.
But if they literally are rude and tell you to never come back, don't go back. Don't mail them nothing. Nothing. Now you might say, they might have just had a bad day, Dwayne. I know you guys, but listen, there's other FSBOs, there's other people they get business from, you know. I'm not talking about if they tell you to, you know, they say some F word or something, you know, something to that level, don't go back, okay?
Yeah.
Just let it go, all right? So then he says, I better hurry. Says you can put more, same process, different words. I'll probably be a little bit over our time today, but not too much. Same process, but different words. So I was just calling to see if you, so remember it's ask, reason, ask on your prospecting track. So you still ask, but you don't ask if they want to sell because you already know that. So you ask if they consider using a realtor. And the reason, you know, you might say, the reason I'm calling is, you know, about 7 out of 10 end up using a realtor at some point. And if you want to get together, we can go over a couple of things that you might be faced with. You can do 2 approaches. You can either say, I'll show you how you can put more money in your pocket. Or you can say, if you still want to try for a while, I can show you, give you some tips on how to sell without a realtor. And then if it doesn't sell, you can call me, or maybe you can use me to help you buy a house. I don't mind. I'll come over and show you. And then you can still get an appointment out of it, one way or the other. So if you made a couple notes about that, it was the direct approach or the soft approach, just in case, okay? All right. And then there was put more money in their pocket. So if you're a new person, if you were like me, you might not believe that. When I was brand new, I was thinking, yeah, well, it makes sense. They got to pay $16,000. If they don't use me, they get that. Then I didn't know something. I'm going to teach you something here in the 8 reasons about how it works with the comparables. Comparables that you're showing them include what? Commissions. So if there's no commissions, their comparable would be less that. Does that make sense?
Right.
We'll talk about that some more in a minute. Okay, what else? Don't be fooled by the price. What'd they say, $1 million? And you're looking, it's worth 800 grand? Don't worry about it. Follow through the steps that I mentioned, the exact stuff that I talk about in the pricing segment. You'll be surprised when you get over there and you go, so, yeah, just wondering how you arrived at your price. Oh, what price? Well, you said $1 million. Oh, I was just kidding. So don't worry about that, okay? Oh, the last one was real estate, full service real estate's been around for 150 years. You know, legitimate real estate, and when you look on MLS and you print off some showings, 8 out of 10 have offer you 3.5 and 1.5, yes?
Yes.
Okay, there's only 2 or 3 that are less. So they're the ones that are not normal, not the other way around. It is normal to get a full commission and offer full services. That's normal. Make sense? Okay. So the five requirements, I'll put those up and you can write them while I just talk about it so you can gain a little bit of time here. You need to schedule enough time. So book a window for your what?
Appointment.
Appointment.
No,
Arrival.
not for your appointment. Make sure you didn't write that down. But for your arrival time. And make sure they don't have anything
Planned
to
after.
do or planned after. Isn't that right? Get in the door honestly You know, I mean, if you do have a buyer, there's no problem in telling them, just let them know you're not gonna be bringing them unless, you know, and if they say, well, you know, why don't you just put it together and then you can get the commissions on the buyer side? I don't recommend that. I know that some people do that, but you might turn out to do twice as much work for half the money and it might be a nightmare. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Twice as much work. Watch out for representation. And watch, there's people that get sued in real estate court. In every city, there's actually, if you go to the law courts building, there's one courtroom that's just for real estate. I saw it in Edmonton when I was there. Every day there's case after case. A buyer suing a FSBO. You know, a FSBO suing a realtor that represented a buyer. And then some of the other ones where it's realtors or just homeowners and stuff like that. But if you do a lot of volume, you'll end up there at least once. I ended up there once, and lucky I did all my proper paperwork and everything because we won, so it was no big deal, but it still was an inconvenience. Okay? Don't worry about it though. As long as you follow everything that we teach and something does occur, you just have to follow your paper trail, you're all good. Okay? So schedule enough time, get in the door, honestly. Determine which one wants to list. It's the smart one that wants to list. I'm just kidding, but the truth of the matter, it usually is one that's kind of leaning that way a bit, especially when you go on the appointment, you can kind of tell. And then sell the security factor. And I'll get to the security factor in a second, but get them to listen at least to the 8 reasons you can put more money in their pocket in less time. So I'll give you the reasons. Okay, number 1, the law of supply and demand. This law of supply and demand applies in a different way for a FSBO than on our costs of waiting, unless they're a FSBO. So let's pretend that they continue to try to sell without MLS, without a realtor. What kind of exposure are they getting? Tell me what their exposure is. Yard sign. Okay. What else? Maybe Kijiji.
Facebook one.
And they may not even boost it if that's what it's called. I can't remember. You just pay to get it on top. What else do they do? Facebook. Marketplace.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to be a realtor to put it in there. Okay. So they might be doing that, right? So what tool do they not have that gets them the most exposure where you would have other realtors knowing it's for sale, even in other cities, and other buyers that have a realtor working for them that would help them find that place?
MLS, realtor.ca.
Yeah, MLS and realtor.ca. The difference is more than tenfold. Would you all agree?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a law of supply and demand. The more people that know it's for sale, the better chance for not only them to sell it, but maybe even get more money.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, and you guys got to use that tool all the time. Everybody that says, oh, we're just going to go exclusive, we're going to do this or that, you just pull out your biggest card. And what is it? MLS. It's huge. And you wait till you see what happens. I had something on MLS once. Somebody in New Jersey bought it sight unseen. They would have never even known about it if it wasn't for MLS. Does that make sense?
Same thing with me.
Yeah.
They came from Belgium to buy
Belgium,
a
yeah.
farm.
Yeah. So you guys don't shortchange yourselves on that. That's a huge tool. Nobody else can get access to that except us realtors, okay? The next thing is we have more prospects.